lane fast, call it high speed. I've been working hard, yeah, I've been working nightly. If you think you'll win, nah, likely. I be taking shots, yeah, cold-blooded, icy. Watching numbers grow is what I call sightseeing. In the front row, run it up when they hype me. The following grows, they know how to ignite me. Call me CEO, I've been running right, see. And I ain't playing games, I create my own lane, making pleasure out of pain, turning losses into...
What is up, Steeler Nation? Welcome back to State of the Steelers. I'm your host, Daniel J. And welcome to the Q&A show. Got a couple early ongoers in the live chat. I want to say hello to Jared Devil. Welcome in. Got Brian Brown. I got George. Welcome all, man. Welcome. Thanks for tuning in. I need to fix my background real quick. It's a little bit blurry. There we go. Maybe a little bit lower. Sorry about that. So, how's everybody doing? It has been a while since I've been on the Steelers, State of the Steelers live. It's going to be a good day today because today I'll be going to see Hines Ward and the San Antonio Brahmas take on the St. Louis Battlehawks in the XFL football. I'm located in San Antonio, so me and the wife, we're going to go watch the game. Looking forward to seeing Hines out there. Looking forward to, just be seeing football again. It'll be interesting. It'll be awesome. I'm going to take my Steelers Watt jersey to the game. Represent what's going on. Brian Harrington, thank you for joining. And D. Attaway, how's it going? And so there's not been much news, man. And when it comes to the Pittsburgh Steelers, it's been a lot of silence. There's been a lot of random stuff come up. Juju got into a argument with the Eagles defenders, which I thought was kind of funny. I thought that was funny, to be honest with you guys. But I thought it was immature at the same time. I think if Juju was still a Pittsburgh Steeler and he was doing that kind of crap, that I would have not liked it one bit. But the offseason is free agency is approaching next month. Right now, the only thing that the Steelers can do is sign their own free agents. And one that I'm hoping that the Pittsburgh Steelers end up signing is Terrell Edmunds. I think he played fantastic last year as the safety. He's a guy that, in my opinion, we saw what the Steelers defense looked like without him when he was out from, with his concussion issue. Wasn't very good. And so Trey Norwood, he's a little bit of a liability when it comes to over-the-top stuff. And so, in my opinion, I think that the Steelers need to sign him. The Steelers also need to re-sign. I want to say Larry O, but I want to see also what is out there and available for the Pittsburgh Steelers in free agency. I know Javon Hargrave is going to be a free agent, and as much as I would want him to come back, I think he's going to have a pretty hefty price tag. And so, with that being said, it is something that I think he's going to be too expensive. But Larry Ogunjobi, he played well. He was injured all last year. For the most part, he took a lot of, practices off. Training camp, he was there sparingly, just kind of before, doing the pre-workout stuff. Wasn't really with teams because he had like an ankle and a foot injury. And so, this year, if the Steelers can re-sign him, have him there for the entire offseason program, have him be able to, work with the team, get comfortable with everybody, going in with a year under his belt. I think that would do wonders. Having him side by side with Cam Hayward is something that I think is going to be it'd be great. Now the Steelers just need to get somebody as a nose, a big guy. That's why I like Javon Hargrave, because he can kind of facilitate those both roles. He can be in the inside, he can play nose, he can play tackle, and so you really get two players in that situation. Javon Hargrave is a very fast player, so I would love the Steelers to go on that route. I just don't feel that they are. Because they have a lot of needs and a lot of holes on the defense. Cam Sutton is another guy that I thought the Pittsburgh Steelers should sign or consider re-signing. Um, he's not, in my opinion, a CB1, but maybe like a CB1.5. He's better than a CB2. He's not a guy that I would anticipate having the ability to follow a wide receiver one across the board. And so, he's very cerebral. He's a cerebral player, and that makes up for his lack of speed. I think that's probably the only thing that he has. He's not the fastest corner, but he's great at tracking the ball. The Steelers really don't have that CB1. Across right now, they have Akil Weatherspoon, who's under contract, who I would expect the Steelers to cut. And you have Levi Wallace, who did show up in the second half of the season last year. He was able to prove why or show why, the Steelers wanted him, and he did well. He had a few interceptions there. Now, is that because, he got comfortable or more comfortable with the defense, or was it possibly because the return of TJ Watt and the TJ Watt effect was in effect? Who knows? And so maybe a combination of the two. But in my opinion, those are guys that the Steelers should consider re-signing. On the offensive side, I would like to see the Steelers go after Miles Boykin. I thought he did fantastic on special teams. And, he was serviceable in the passing game. The Steelers really didn't, as far as the passing game goes, they really didn't have an explosive passing game or passing game concept. I showed a couple of some images the last time from PFF that showed that the Pittsburgh Steelers protected their tackles more than almost every team in the NFL except for the Miami Dolphins and the Las Vegas Raiders, meaning that they use a tight end or brought in a second, lineman or a lineman eligible. We heard that quite often. And, when they did that, it took a player out of the passing game. And so when we saw passing schemes that, were subpar or Saturday-ish, a lot had to do with the fact that they needed to protect their team. Got a couple guys in here real quick. Let's see. We have welcome. We got Steelers fan. You got Big Blue, aka Daniel Rocha, in here. What's up, man? What's up? Give me a second, guys. I got to do something real quick. I'll be right back. Sorry about that. It was a little bit noisy in here. I had to go turn something off. I apologize for that. As far as news in the, what's in the news today, for the Steelers, there's a an article here that says the Steelers have interest at linebacker, and they're looking at possibly Bud Dupree in free agency. Bud Dupree is a guy that, he was drafted by the Pittsburgh Steelers. He was having, he had an up and down career. He had a down and then up career. It was trending in the right direction. That's what helped him get a huge contract in Tennessee, one that the Steelers couldn't obviously match. And so, unfortunately, though, for Bud Dupree is, towards the latter end of his tenure with the Pittsburgh Steelers, he had a ACL tear, and he hasn't been the same. He hasn't been the same since his injury. In fact, let me look up his PFF as far as, Pro Football Reference, and I'll tell you what his stats were. Bud Dupree. And so in 2022, he played in 11 games. He had 4 sacks, 14 solo tackles, and 1 forced fumble. Well, that was his summer. Let's see. He played in 11 games, 11 games started. He had 1 forced fumble, 4 sacks, And yeah, his stats his stats hadn't been the same since 2019. 2019 is when he had 11 and a half. 2020 he was on a roll. He was heading in the right direction to get 12 to 13 sacks. He had 8 when he had his ACL tear. And he just hadn't been the same since. Is it possible because of his injury, or is it because he's playing a Batman in Tennessee where he was a Robin in Pittsburgh to TJ Watt's Batman? And so, having him back, perhaps maybe we'll get him on a 1 year deal to, as a 1 year prove it deal, have him in rotation with Alex Highsmith. TJ Watt and Highsmith take some time off. They take significant time off, especially TJ Watt. He only plays about 70%, 75% of snaps. You'll see the third outside linebacker come in quite a bit. And so, they also have a formation where there's 3 outside linebackers on the field. And you see that formation when the Steelers are playing a heavy run offense, like the Baltimore Ravens, the Browns, guys, teams of that nature. And so, but I wouldn't mind seeing him back on a not so expensive deal, with him understanding that he's going to be the third guy. Let's see. We have a question. If you have questions, send them in. This is a Q&A show. Let's see. George says, "Hey everyone, if you can have Juju or DJ in 2023, who would you rather?" I'd probably be taking. I'd probably take DJ. I would take Deontay Johnson out of that scenario, and the reason being is that Juju is not anywhere near. So Juju is clutch. He'll catch the ball, but he lost a lot of speed. There was reports that he had, towards this, I think in 2019, something happened to his knee. That was the Mason Rudolph year. He was out significant time in that season. Rumors and things stated that, and there was DK from DK Sports, that he was frequently having to have his knee drained, right? And so he hadn't had the speed, he hadn't had the breakaway speed since then. And he has been riddled with injuries every year since then. I would take Deontay Johnson because of the availability aspect of it, and also because, DJ can get open. He needs to be able to catch the ball and be more reliable in those, moments that mean the most. When the pressure's on, when the lights are on, we're all eyes on him. He's folded in those situations. And so, I know that a lot of folks look at his stats and say that it's magnified. He just, he doesn't have that. There's other receivers that drop the ball more. His drop rate is this much, blah, blah, blah. I get it. But it's just, for me, we didn't. To me, when I watch other teams, I don't see those moments where the ball is in their hands and they're just dropping it. And, I've seen where there are drops, but it's a much more difficult pass to catch. It's like sometimes Deontay Johnson drops the easy ones and catches the more difficult ones. Maybe there were some times where he didn't catch many, but, to wrap that all up, I think I would go with Deontay between those two. Now, if I had my option between Deontay Johnson and another wide receiver that is, wide receiver one capable, I probably would shy away from Deontay Johnson. Good question. Thank you. George says he thinks he'd rather have Juju he can catch, and I get that. I mean, it depends on where he's at. So if we got another wide receiver one to replace Deontay, because they're two different receivers. Juju is not a wide receiver one. He's not the outside guy on on an island. He is a slot, or maybe the deep threat, right? Well, that's what he wants to be. He wants to be the deep threat guy down the sideline. And so they play two different positions. And so I wouldn't want Juju in that position. And if need be, I feel that Deontay Johnson can work those other positions as well. And so there's also that aspect of their play. Let's see. The Hero Brian says, Hines is the coach of the XFL team in San Antonio. Yes, sir. He sure is. He sure is. We're going to be going. We're excited for that. It's going to be, it's our first game. It's our, I know that they had a team here before. Their name escapes me. I think it was XFL also, or UFL, one of these leagues that was here. We didn't get a chance to go to those games, but we're going to go to the one today. Let's see. Let's see. Robert Cotting says, people who know football say Deontay Johnson is 2 times better than George Pickens. Right now, I would agree that Deontay Johnson is a better receiver in the aspect of the ability to run a route tree, the ability to get separation in those aspects. What he lacks is the ability to keep his toes in bounds, make the difficult catches and the routine catches routinely. It's just what it is. And George Pickens is the opposite. He has, he's not the best route runner. He's a little bit raw still. We got to realize that his last year in college, he didn't play much. He had the ACL tear in March of that season, and so he only played, I think, like go routes in the playoffs there for Georgia, and so he hadn't played football in a while, and he had to get back into football shape, so to speak, and also adjust to the routes and become a crisper route runner. And so at this point, I'd agree with that. That Deontay Johnson is a better receiver than George Pickens at this point. But I feel that where they're at, I think George can pass him up pretty quickly if he can get that down. Only time will tell. Let's see. Robert says, are you going to watch the XFL? I'm actually going to the game. I'm going to go to the game. I'm going to be at the San Antonio game, which reminds me, I have a unboxing to do. So I came out on I know what this is, but I haven't opened it yet. I wanted to open it here. I came out on the Steel Twins channel a few weeks back. I think it was right before the Steelers played the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And, I did a prediction show with them, and we predicted not only that Steeler game, but every game that week. And when they had a contest going on for those that were participating in their predictions. It was a 17-person contest, and I won. I won the contest, so I won since I came out, and I'll be unboxing this. I want to say thank you very much to the Steel Twins. Please go subscribe to them. I did tag them in the description. So. There it is. It is a Cam Hayward autograph jersey. Thank you guys. I truly appreciate this. I have I purchased a frame jersey holder already for my living room. So thank you so much. It's awesome. That's why Cam is today's sorry about that, y'all, if y'all heard that. Today's thumbnail. Thank you guys so much. Let's see. Oh, really? You want an autograph pick from Arthur? That's awesome. That is awesome. Arthur Moats is a cool guy too. He I watch him and Deke. Their show is pretty cool. It's a little long. It's a little lengthy. They go on there for a while, so I don't get to watch all of it, but I do tune in. Let's see. You see, I agree with that, Daredevil. I don't know how people can compare a rookie to an established vet. I agree with that. Let's see. But yeah, and so for the Steelers, acquiring an outside linebacker to go back to what we were talking about, I think that's also high priority list. But I think that possibly is it depends on what the Steelers want to do long term with Alex Highsmith. Do they want to extend him long term, maybe this year, maybe next year, or franchise tag him next year? Do what they did with Bud Dupree, and keep him, for an extra couple of years, and then at that point try to extend him or let him, go and do his free agency thing. If they do that, then I would expect the Pittsburgh Steelers to draft an edge guy to replace him, somebody who is starter or definitely starter capable, somebody who is to that pedigree and to that degree of Alex Highsmith in the draft next season. Right now, if they don't plan on doing any of those things and they're just going to let him play the final year on his contract and let him go, and I would anticipate the Steelers draft an outside linebacker this season and early. I don't think that's a move they want to do, though. I think they're looking at the trenches early. And so my thoughts are that they're probably going to go to free agency and try to get that third outside linebacker and do the franchise tag route with Alex Highsmith. That's my prediction. I think that's the route they're going to go. It seems the most logical to me. That way they can focus the draft with the interior, with the trenches. They can get an offensive lineman. They can get a defensive lineman. That's what they need right now to build up. I would also hope in the draft that they go in free agency that they're going middle linebacker and they get Tremaine Edmonds. That would be, that's what everybody's looking at. Everybody's hoping. I think it would be an amazing combination to have Miles Jack, Tremaine Edmonds, Cam Hayward, TJ Watt, Alex Highsmith. I mean, that is an impressive group of guys that are up front. And that's, who's to say that they don't bring back a Javon Hargrave, or they don't re-sign a Larry Ogunjobi, or that they get a stud in the draft for interior defensive linemen. Marvin Leal also could be a guy that's going to take a second-year jump. He had a pretty good rookie year. Guy from my hometown here in San Antonio. So I think that I want Big Blue's autograph. That's funny. I think that these guys are going in the right direction. I think that they need to get somebody on the offensive line. I think that's important. Like I was mentioning earlier, the Steelers protect their tackles more than anybody. They use pass eligible, player eligible linemen as tight ends, and they bring in and use the tight end to protect the tackles, more than anybody. I think just except for the Dolphins and the Raiders. What that does is it takes away from the passing concepts. And so if we can get a guy out there, left tackle that can be left on an island and maybe kick Dan Moore into guard. Because I've heard a lot of people say that, he's a big, strong, fast guy, that he might be able to take that position. And you're able to leave these tackles on islands, then you can do some more creative things with your pass concepts and perhaps maybe put some more points on the board. That would be, and that would be amazing because, in that chart, the team that left their tackles on an island the most was the Philadelphia Eagles. And they put up points on the board. They didn't lose that game, even though, Hurts had that fumble that resulted in a touchdown. I think that the offense did enough to win that game. They shouldn't have done that. There was a lot of little things that could have, would have, on both sides. And so, but their offense was really, really good. And, I think that's what the Steelers should strive to be that type of offense, be an offense that can, have a quarterback that's mobile, that can threaten teams so that they play 11-on-11 football, make them be strategic towards that. And then you also have some deep threats on the outside, and you have some threats on the outside and a running back that can pound it in there. And I think the Steelers have been able to put those pieces in together. They just need to now start to develop and get it going. I think Kenny Pickett having a full off season as the guy getting all the first team reps is going to do wonders for him. I know a lot of folks were pretty upset about the lack of an offense with Kenny Pickett in the game in the first few games, but those defenses that they were playing weren't easy teams, so to speak. He is playing up against the Buffalo Bills, against the was it Tampa Bay, Buffalo, Miami, who was really good at the time, and the Eagles, who was the NFC representative for the Super Bowl. And so, uh, in those type of situations where even Kenny Pickett, he came forward and stated that he didn't even talk to Matt Canada much until he became the starter. And in those situations, you got to keep it simple until you figure out what flows and what goes good. And so, Steelers were walking into a trap. It was a no-win situation, so to speak. Defense was going to have to hold down the fort, and without T.J. Watt in there, it was we saw what happened. Now as the team started to groove and the team started to develop and build chemistry, and the offensive coordinator and the quarterback started to figure out what each other like, I think we saw this team progress. We saw this team start to, possess the ball more. In the first half of the season, it was like 3-and-out city all the freaking time. In the second half of the second half of the season, it was, they're able to move the ball between the 20s and having some difficulty, getting the ball in the end zone. And I think at the end of the season, at the very end there against the Browns, they showed that they were able to put up some multiple scores there and had opportunities. And if not for a non-challenge on the first drive of that game, or Najee Harris got into the end zone, it would have been even worse. And so I think we saw the progression. We saw the team move in the right direction. And I think that, all that being said, going into this upcoming season, they can keep those, where it sounds like they are going to keep core pieces together. It's going to be an exciting year. It's going to be definitely an exciting year. And I think that this team is going to surprise some people. I know that, I think the Steelers are being overlooked, in the division, everywhere across the board. Nobody's giving the Steelers an opportunity to do anything next season. I think this is going to be a good year to prove everybody wrong. And I'm for one excited about it. Truly am. Let's see. We need to have modes on the state. I'm not sure what you meant by that. But yeah, so that's my thoughts on where the Steelers are and where they need to go to get better. I'm excited for this. It's going to be an interesting year. I'm also excited for the possible return that the Steelers are going to get from a few players. One being Mitch Trubisky. I think the Steelers are going to shop him around as possible trade. His contract isn't bad. It's $10 million. That I think he'd carry 8 to another team. So for a starter capable quarterback, $8 million isn't bad. And so if there's a team out there that doesn't or isn't able to, or doesn't have a first round pick or something like that, I doesn't think they're going to be in position to get a quarterback in this draft, or perhaps maybe they're aiming for a quarterback in this draft, but not for one that they feel they're going to start right away and they need a veteran to start. I think Mitch Trubisky would fit that role. He's a good bridge quarterback ish. It didn't work out here, but who's to say he goes into a system that he's more familiar with, a system that he's played in before, versus something completely different or unknown in Matt Canada's offense that might could have potentially showcased a different outing so to speak. And so with that said, I forgot where I was at, man. I'm sorry about that, y'all. It's early for me. I had a late night. One of my good friends, it's rodeo week, and one of my good friends has they have a ranch a couple hours, maybe about an hour and a half away from here. And we went out there last night and had a long night. Let's see. Oh, Arthur modes. But yeah, guys, I'm gonna probably be closing this down already. I want to say thank you guys to everybody that was in the live chat and listened to me rant and ramble a little bit. And thank you again to the Steel Twins for the amazing giveaway that you guys did that allowed me to have the opportunity to win. I appreciate y'all. We gotta get you guys back on the show. We got to do that again. Please hit that like and subscribe, y'all. And yeah, man, I'm gonna go to the San Antonio game. You'll see me there, and maybe I'll do a post game show. Maybe I'll talk about the Brahmas for the off season and see where they're going. They're coached by none other than Hines Ward, so we'll see what happens. But yeah, we'll see y'all later, man. Please hit that like and subscribe. Peace.